Hi, everyone. Welcome to yoga. This is a slow flow practice, and it will be themed as spring into summer, summer being that season of light and warmth and expansion. So let's begin lying on our backs. And I will just settle Lily down into her spot. Come on, let's go over here. Come on, over here. Yeah, yeah, got this right here. So let's take our time and find our way onto our backs. You may want to keep your knees bent and walk your feet over to the width of your yoga mat. Drop your knees together and then perhaps bring the arms out with bent elbows, palms facing the ceiling, and settle into your low back, middle back, and upper back. Feel into the floor supporting your head and your shoulders. Have some easeful moments to begin here. Checking in with the state of your mind, noticing how you're feeling in this moment. Breathing into this body. You're going to have to go over here and into the blanket. You're blocking the view. Come on, you could do it. Few more rounds of breath in and out, easeful, effortless. You may want to begin to reach your hands up overhead and then walk your feet back in line with your hips. We can slide this left leg long and then pull the right knee in and perhaps just reach for that right knee, interlacing the hands in front or underneath or along the thigh, and then just pull this right knee in towards that right abdomen. Few rounds of breath here. You could allow this right hip to open, this right hip and right knee to open to the side. And then maybe reach down along the outer aspect of this right leg, finding this right heel or the outside of the right foot. And then just extending this right foot up towards the ceiling. Opening and breathing more into this right hip, right inner thigh. And then from here, I'm going to slide this left leg into flexion. So I have some stable point here for my left foot. And then I'm going to bring this right foot on top of the left thigh in the figure 4. I'm going to move around through my hips. Walk this left foot in. And then pick up this left foot. And then maybe just move through that left knee and extend that left leg up towards the ceiling and then down again. Make any adjustments if that right foot slides. Just extend and bend. You could bring this right hand in between the thighs and interlace the hands behind this back left thigh, or maybe just hold the left thigh with each hand. Breathe here. Could circle around through that left ankle, one direction and then the other. Maybe point and flex the left toes. Breathe in and breathe out. And slowly release the hands. Allow this left foot to come all the way down onto the ground. And then you could walk this left foot out a bit towards the left and then allow the knees to fall all the way to the right as you reach up spin overhead, and then maybe bring the arms out into a T position and your gaze beyond this left shoulder. Lily, you're so in the way. You don't want to go to your blanket. Enjoy a few rounds of breath in this shape. And then slowly reconnect here as you walk this left foot in towards the center line. You could reach to remove this right foot away from the left thigh. You could have a moment again in that constructive rest pose where the feet walk a little bit wider than the hips and the knees come together. You could bring your hands to your low belly. Find your breath there. And we'll readjust the legs and slide this right leg long. Pull in through this left knee, left thigh, and then again, grab onto either the front of this left knee or underneath. Pull in, connect to breath here. Slide this left hand down along the outside aspect of the left leg. Maybe find this left heel or the outside of the left foot, and then extend and have the sole of the left foot facing the ceiling, and then allow this opening to occur. So the left knee is bent, this left hand and left arm supporting the opening of this left hip and left knee, and breathe here. And we slowly slide this right knee into flexion and then place this left foot on the top of that right thigh. So we're in figure 4 here. You can adjust that right foot. You could pick up this right foot, circle around here, maybe extend up and then bend again. Maybe have this right leg lifted, circle around, point and flex the toe. Bending into this right knee. If you want to thread this left arm through, connecting with the right thigh. Breathing in and breathing out. Perhaps releasing the hands and allowing this right foot to come down. Opening up again the arms, maybe reach up overhead and then out into that T position, and then dropping both knees down towards the left to gaze beyond this right shoulder. Breath in and out here. And then walking this right foot back through center, reaching for this left hand and gently releasing this left foot from your right thigh. From here, we could pull in both knees. And then you could rock from side to side, maybe accessing the hip and the shoulder. You could also find yourself at a still point in the center here and bring the knees in. Maybe you want to create a little momentum and then rock forward and then back. So many options. But we will meet in hands and knees, table position. So beginning here with your hands, pressing down in your mat or in your space, and we'll rock forward and we'll rock back. I like to bring a little bit of space between the fingers and then move around through the hips. Perhaps circle around one direction, the other. You could walk the hands forward, keeping the hips lifted. Readjust those knees and allow the head and neck to slide through the arms. Breath in and breath out. Slowly bring the hands back towards the knees. You may want to enjoy a few spinal stretches here where you drop the pelvis and roll the shoulders back, lift your gaze, tuck the pelvis, tuck the chin, round the spine. You could sync this up with your breath. Inhale and exhale. And then from here, we'll walk the hands towards the knees and come up onto our knees. So you can see here that I have double layers. So if you want to add any extra support in and underneath your knees, feel free to do that, towel or blanket. And then we will begin to move through the spine. So coming up again onto the knees. And from this angle, you can't see, but I'm just going to have the tops of my feet resting down. You could curl your toes under if you like, but I just want to be able to access a little bit of that strength in the back body. So tops of the feet for me provide more stabilizing support. And then we'll reach the arms out in front. Open up the palms, reach those arms up overhead. Full breath in here, and then bend at the elbows as you exhale and hold on to opposite forearms. We're going to lift, and then we'll drop that right elbow down towards the floor. Breath in and out through that left side body. Come back up through center, and then drop that left elbow down towards the floor, breathing into the right side body. Alternating here, side to side. And then as we lift back up, you could rotate around, and I'm bending through my knees and dropping my hips a little bit, moving from one direction and then into the other. So finding this open radiance from the center of our bellies and our hearts, lifting. And then reaching those arms up overhead, softening that distance between elbows, ears, and shoulders. And then releasing arms down. So I will turn myself to the side now, and we're going to just stretch it out from side to side, but add a little twist in with the torso. So I'm going to sit down with my hands on my hips and then reach with my right hand back, either towards my right heel or somewhere near that right foot. And then I'm sweeping this left arm across the body so I can have a little bit of a twist in to the torso. Lifting and then lowering again, sweeping across the body, switching sides with my hands, reaching up with that right arm, and then alternating sides. Again, that rotation of the torso as you reach that right arm up adds that twist. One more time on each side. And then lower down. From here, Lily is just not settling. Can you sit over here? Can you sit in your blanket? Can you sit in your blanket, please? Right over here. Come on. Such a good spot. There you go. It's a good spot. Hands on the mat. Walk it out. Table pose again. From here, we could curl the toes under and then just hinge back a little bit, feeling into the weight shift into the toes, maybe opening up the space between the toes. You could push with the heels of your hands and lift up those knees and then lower down. Lift up those knees and then lower down. Maybe one more time, lifting up those knees and lower down, walking it out. From here, what I like to do is lift up through the knees and then just crawl forward towards the front of my space and then back towards the back of my space. So this is called a bear crawl, and we're really hinging through all hips, shoulders, knees, elbows. One more round here. And then we'll come to the center and find downward dog. Allowing the head and neck to drop. Heels may not touch the floor. You may even want to bend through one knee and then the other. I have my feet somewhat wide here. So see how your downward dog is expressed in this moment. May not look like mine, and that's okay. And then we'll come all the way down onto the knees again. And then work our way onto our belly. So forearms may come down, belly connects down. And then let's just begin here with Sphinx pose. So in the space that I'm in, my feet are kind of hanging off the edge, and that's okay. So I'm walking my elbows in, lifting up through my gaze just beyond the edge of my space, softening through the shoulders, maybe picking up one leg, then the other, rocking a little bit from side to side. Breath in and breath out. I'm aiming for 3 rounds of breath in this extension, spinal lift, really pushing into my forearms. My hands are bright. There's some space between each finger. Connecting with the belly down on the floor. Breathing in this relationship with gravity. And then let's lower down, forearms. And then fold so the forehead can rest on the stacked forearms. Soften here. May want to bend through the knees and then just draw circles on the ceiling with your feet, one direction and then the other. And then you could bring the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling and then just begin to flutter kick as if you're treading water. And lowering those feet down. Breath in and breath out. I'm going to extend my arms out to the side, bringing just the fingertips onto the floor and then lowering the forehead down and tucking my chin. So now I have quite an extension here in my shoulder and my elbow joint, and I'm just working through the fingertip pads. And I'm going to soften through my thighs and then inhale and lift up my gaze and then lower down. I'll do this 2 or 3 more times. So think about an unraveling to the spine, head and neck really lifting last, and then tucking the chin and lowering down. One more lift. Breath in. And breath out, and then slowly lower all the way down, tucking that chin, forehead presses, hands come in towards the shoulders, and then bend at those knees again, cross at your ankle, and then push yourself up back into that table pose. So from here, I'm just going to walk the knees in slightly. And then I'm going to reach with my right hand beyond my shoulder and bring this left hand in underneath my left shoulder, and then bend at the elbow and draw the nose down towards the mat. And then reach beyond with that left hand, pull this right hand in, nose to mat. So just changing the direction of some push-ups. Nose to mat, push the mat away. 4. And then the other. And then from here, just stretching it out. Forehead can come down. Breathing into the back body. And then sliding those hands back towards the shoulders, walking myself back in with my hands and knees, table position. So from here, I'm going to shift my weight into the right knee, the top of the right foot, draw this left knee in, and then extend this left leg long. But I'm going to cross this left foot over the right, and then maybe have a moment where I tap down with the left toes, look over my right shoulder, little C curve in the spine, and then ensure that I have this right hand underneath my right shoulder, and then redirect this left foot, and then shift my weight onto that right hand so I can dangle through this left arm. I like to open up through this right foot as well, and then reach this left arm over the ear, maybe up towards the ceiling. You could even draw these windmill-like circles with the left arm. Come up perhaps on tented fingers here. Change the direction of those circles. And then maybe have a moment where you pick up this left foot, reach this left arm over the ear, shift your weight into the top of that right foot, breath in, breath out. You could bend this left knee and then just tap left elbow to left knee and then open up again. Crunch it in, open, crunch it in, and then open. Tap the left toes down, release through this left hand, and then come back into your table pose. Maybe enjoying a few rock backs. And then we'll shift the weight into that left knee, top of the left foot, and then draw this right knee in and extend that right leg long. And then tap this right foot over that left. Walk your hands over towards the left, and maybe a gentle C curve here, gaze beyond that left shoulder. Breath in, breath out. And then redirect the hands, redirect this right foot. I have this left hand underneath my left shoulder. Switch the weight into that left side, dangle through this right arm. You may want to just adjust this left foot out to the side and then start to draw your circles. This right arm reaches over the ear, and then you may want to add those windmill circles in one direction and then the other. And then this right arm could reach over the ear. And you could have a moment where you see if you want to pick up this right foot. So reaching right arm, reaching right leg, breathing in, and breathing out. You want to add that extra layer of crunching it in, right elbow to right thigh, and then reaching. See where you land, see where you can explore the movement. And then tapping this right foot down, releasing this right hand, and then bringing this right knee back to meet the left. You may want a moment of child pose, and then flipping up the palms can be really helpful here. Bending through the elbows, maybe releasing through the wrists by circling them a little bit. I like to interlace my fingers and just support the back of my head here. And then in your own time, maybe changing the direction of those arms, supporting underneath your head. As you slowly unravel and work your way back up into table pose, we will set ourselves up so we have a moment to enjoy plank pose. And just a couple tips with plank pose. Walking the legs out, I like to walk my feet into a wider base. So you could match it up with the corners, the low corners of your yoga mat, and then walk your feet in. Keep your whole body parallel to the mat. Breath in and breath out. Push out through your heels. One more round. Maybe pick up the right leg, lower it down, pick up the left leg, lower that down. One more time, just alternating. Maybe push out through the heels and then come up off one arm and then the other. And then walk your feet in. Hike up those hips, downward dog. Breath in and out. Bend through the knees as if you're gently walking in place, maybe even tapping the knee down and then pushing it back up again. And then we'll walk our feet towards our hands, hanging in a forward fold, keeping the knees soft and bent as much as is needed, maybe even more so than usual. Perhaps bringing the hands, the forearms behind the knees, hanging here. Breath in and out. And then pushing your feet down into the floor, into your mat, and then slide the hands up the legs with slightly bent knees. And unravel your spine to come to standing. So here we are. Whew. Open up your palms. Roll your shoulders back. Maybe rock a bit forward, back. And then reach the arms up and come all the way up onto the tiptoes, lifting those heels up high. And then lower down. We'll do that 2 more times. Find your reach. And then lower down. So I'm going to create some space here and have a step back. So I'm going to walk forward towards one of the shorter edges of my mat. And I'm going to bring my hands on my hips, shift the weight into my right leg, pick up my left foot for crane pose. Find a steady point of focus and concentration so I can stand on one leg here. I also have the luxury of a wall that I can reach out for and lean into. So lean into your supports as needed, and then we'll open up this left hip and left knee and step ourselves back into crescent lunge. So reaching up here, and then straightening out this right leg, reaching forward, hinging at the hip, and then releasing the hands perhaps behind this right knee. So we'll do that flow again, coming back up into our crescent lunge, pressing into that right foot, maybe picking up that left knee, holding in our crane pose, opening up that left hip, left knee, stepping back into crescent lunge, reaching forward as you straighten that right leg, and then release the hands in the head and neck. Bend into this right foot, perhaps reaching the arms up again for crescent lunge. Shifting the weight forward and peeling that left foot, picking up that left knee, and then releasing, shaking out this right leg. We'll try that on the other side. So hands to hips, reaching out into your support, picking up this right knee. Crane pose here. Breath in and out. Opening up this right hip, right knee, stepping back with that right leg into your crescent lunge. Breath in, reaching forward as you hinge at the hips. Breath out, straightening this left knee, and then folding forward, maybe just shifting those hands behind the leg, tucking the chin towards the chest. Bending into this left knee, picking up, unpeeling this right heel, coming back into your crescent lunge. And then shifting the weight forward into that left foot and bringing your right knee back into crane pose, perhaps with arms lifted this time. Find your drishti point, find your point of connection and concentration, really rooting that foot down, imprinting it into the mat, into the floor. And opening up that right hip, right knee, stepping back into your crescent lunge. Breath in, breath out as you reach and hinge forward, straightening this left leg, and then releasing the forearms, releasing head and neck. Gently bending back into that left knee, crescent lunge. Shift the weight into the left foot, pick up that right, crane pose. And release. Shake out that left leg. From here, we'll allow the hands to come to the hips and then bring the feet wider than the hips here. And then just hinge forward and back through the hips. Hinging forward and then back. So we have ultimately the torso coming halfway. So we have this parallel action. My hands are on my thighs, and then I'll bend into the right knee, find that length through that inner left thigh, come back up through center, bend through that left knee, stretching all of this inner leg on the right side, pushing hands down for a little added resistance on those thighs. And then I'm coming up halfway. I'll bring my hands to my hips here, and then I'm going to direct my right toes towards the short edge of my mat. So from here, I can just move right into warrior two pose. So arms can extend and lengthen. You feel into all the directions of extending outward from your heart center. Bending at this right elbow, flipping that palm up, coming into your side angle, and then reaching this left arm up and over the ear. Breath in, breath out. You could straighten this right leg, coming into triangle pose, reaching this left arm upward, perhaps with your gaze. And then you could angle yourself back into side angle. So reaching this left arm over the ear. As you hold here, maybe you lift this right arm up and away from the thigh. Breath in, breath out. Releasing this right arm down, straightening this right leg, reaching back up into your triangle pose and lift out of the waist. Hands to hips, dial the toes in the same direction. And then we'll bring the left toes towards the shorter edge of your space, bending here into that left knee, and then opening up into your warrior two here on the left side. Breath in and breath out. Flipping open that left palm, bending at the left elbow, and bringing this left forearm down towards that left thigh, and then reaching this right arm over the ear for your side angle pose. Breath in and breath out. You could transition into triangle here by straightening that left leg, reaching that left hand down, and then bringing that right hand up along with your gaze. Coming back into your side angle pose. And then from here, as you reach that right arm over the ear, you could pick up this left forearm away from the thigh. Breath in, breath out here. Straightening this left leg, reaching yourself up into triangle pose. And then lifting up and out of the waist, coming into your wide-legged dance. So this is a great opportunity if you have a few blocks around to stack up some blocks, and you could bring your hands to your blocks as you hinge forward. The wider your legs are, the more of the intensity of the stretch that you may receive. I'm just sliding my hands down the legs, reaching my hands down towards the outside of the ankles, and then dropping my head down through center. Rooting through my heels and the small toe side of my feet. Breath in and breath out. Again, if you have some blocks, they're so great here. So mine are just a little out of reach, but I'm going to reach for them. You could have high level blocks here supporting underneath your hands like this. You could stack the blocks. And you could bring your forehead down onto those blocks, maybe extending the feet out a little bit more, having some support there. Blocks come in that high, medium, and low setting, so you can adjust the height of everything to accommodate your comfort, your release. I'm going to push into my hands to lift my head away from the blocks. And then I'm walking with my feet, heels and toes inward a little bit. So I have more ability to lift myself up using the blocks. I'll come up halfway. And then I'm going to stack the blocks underneath my pelvis. And I'll bend into the knees and have a supported squat, allowing the elbows to come in towards the knees, pressing the palms here, rooting through my feet, lifting up through my torso and crown of head. Have a moment where I close my eyes and connect to breath. When we move slower, we can move with more intention, connect with this meditative aspect of the practice, tuning in within every transition, how we're feeling, what's happening in the mind. How are we speaking to ourselves? How are we feeling? Where's the breath? And is it possible to send in more care? Is it possible to send in more compassion towards yourself? For me, this practice is about showing up and just seeing what will be. It takes a lot of courage to just show up and unravel and just open yourself up to the moment. So creating some space to sit with that, enjoying in presence. I'm going to release my hands. I'm shifting my weight slightly forward here as well, picking up my pelvis and moving the blocks out. And then I'm going to sit back down and find my way onto my back again, but have these blocks within reach. Slowly lowering down, having one of the blocks in your hand, one off to the side and one block in your hand. And then bending through the knees, we're going to press into the feet and lift up the pelvis. And then allow the block to be placed on the flat part of your spine, on the flattest, lowest setting, and then lower down. You have some support there. And we can reach the arms up overhead. Maybe open those arms up into cactus arms again, bent elbows. Finding that connection through the back of the head and the right shoulder and the left shoulder. So this beautiful open-hearted, open belly position. I'm going to walk my feet to the edges of my mat and just allow my knees to touch. As the season of spring leads into summer, we linger in the light longer, right? So it gets darker later. We have more day, more activity. The temperature tends to be warmer. So showing up for yourself with effort and then also being mindful of bringing in that ease, that rest, the time to cool down. Feeling that warmth and that light on your skin. Enjoying the beauty and the abundance that's all around. You may want to walk your feet in and then slide the legs long. Maybe separating the legs a little bit and then allowing a softness to occur with the feet. Have your pelvis lifted and supported with this block. Noticing the parts of the body that make connection with the floor, your mat, and noticing the parts of the body that don't. Continue to connect with your breath. Allow this easeful, effortless breath to move through you. And then sliding the knees back up. Creating some effort here by pushing into the feet. You may even want to pull the arms up and reach the arms up towards the ceiling first, and then overhead for a bridge press, lifting the pelvis away from your block, holding here for a moment. Releasing the arms and then pulling that block out, taking your time as you slowly, with control, lower down spine to mat. You may want to pull one knee and then the other in. The knees can be separated and you could rock it out from side to side. You could extend the legs up towards the ceiling, pointing and flexing the toes, maybe applying a little pressure with the hands on the tops of the thighs. Circle around through those ankles, opening the legs up into a letter V, and then making an X, alternating which leg is in front. And then from here, slowly lowering those legs down with control. Settling the arms and the legs, maybe even coming into starfish pose. So opening up those palms to the ceiling, allowing the legs to hang off a mat if you're using a yoga mat for your practice. Think about starfish. The points of a starfish, the arms of the starfish, texture of a starfish, the way that they suction to rocks and shells, slow movement, slow purposeful movement of a starfish, and then how they just go with the flow, the ebb and the flow of the ocean, water. And then we can think about the regenerative capacity of the starfish and how that connects with any of the living tissue in our body. Regenerative aspect of much of our tissue exists, our skin, our largest organ, and the tissues inside our body, the tissues that support our organs, and even some of the organs like lungs and liver have a beautiful regenerative capacity. Creating this space for yourself. It's time of rest. It's time of care. To bring in these cooling aspects to assist the body back into balance. If you have time to linger longer, please do so. Otherwise, you may want to deepen your breath here. Bring small movements in through your fingers, your toes. Deepen your breath as you move through wrists, ankles, knees, and hips, shoulders, and elbows. Your time as you roll onto one side of your body. Take your time through the transitions. Push yourself up to a seat when you feel ready. You want to just rest your hands in your lap, or you could bring your palms together over your heart space, or just stack your hands over your upper chest and bow here and thank yourself for your practice and for showing up. Yoga is about connection, mind, body, and breath. Creating that space for yourself and opening up into this season of summer. So the word summering is a verb. It's an action. It can mean so many things. Many of us vacation during this time. We find rest, we find joy, we find connection with others, we find play, but mostly we find time to linger longer in the light. So thank you for practicing with me, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care.